Hello to family, friends, and followers. Today's video is about getting to Glacier National Park. After spending the winter wandering around southern Arizona, I finally left Yuma April 15th with the sole purpose of reaching Glacier. Nearly 4 months later, on August 12th, I finally arrived at my campsite just outside the park. Granted, I spent a lot of time sightseeing around Idaho on my way. Previous videos highlight that. Hope you enjoy the highlights of this trip. This huge rock outcropping is right across from Hell's Gate State Park where I'm staying, and what I would like to know is who's got the money and the wherewithal to buy and build here. This is just a beautiful house up on the ridge overlooking Lewiston and the Snake River. They are on the Clarkston, Washington side of the river. This is the bridge that connects Lewiston to Clarkston, and in the distance is where Lewis and Clark camped on their voyage of discovery as they were heading west. Leaving Lewiston, I crossed the Snake River and head up the bluff in the distance. And as you approach the top, there's a beautiful view from a scenic overlook over Lewiston and Clarkston and the Snake River. I did not get any photos of that. As you move on out across the plateau is a lot of farms, silos. They don't have things like this in North Carolina, so I just find it extremely interesting. All the farming silos in the little small towns, and they've got canola fields in bloom. Beautiful to look at. Very beautiful farming area up on the plateau. The temperature difference is considerable as well. So completely different weather up on the plateau, higher elevation, than down in the valley, down in Lewiston and Clarkston. It was 10-15 degrees hotter, I bet. Moving through a small town, you have a combine. That lets you know you're in a small town in a farming community when you meet a combine coming through town. Some windmills on the right. Haven't seen those in a while. Approaching the campground, the GPS, one said turn right, the other one said turn left. I kept going straight because I was confused. And when I finally got to the entrance, I was past it before I turned in. There was no signage. Coming from the other direction, there was a sign, but it was still sketchy. There's a narrow one-lane road, and I thought surely I was going to get stuck down here somewhere with nowhere to turn around. And finally there's a tiny sign on the right that lets me know I'm going to the right place. Finally the campground and the river come into view. This is a 9-mile recreation area, and I forget the name of the Riverside State Park or something like that. But at any rate, I had a front row camping site backed into my site facing the river. This is Spokane Falls in downtown Spokane, Washington. We're doing a little water rescue training today. We've got all the firemen over here with their ropes. This is looking left from the same spot, looking up Spokane River. And this is an overview of downtown Spokane. I moved on from Spokane to Coeur d'Alene. That place was too busy, too much traffic for me. This is just a quick shot of the campground that I stayed at, and enjoyed showing pulling up and backing up. Leaving Coeur d'Alene, I move on north to Sandpoint. There's a beautiful drive across a bridge leading into town, and they had a historic train depot there. I never got by to see that. That was on the right. Moving on to the campground, I'm continuing to have a problem getting to campgrounds and forgetting to preview in Google Satellite or something to get an idea of where I'm going and what the layout is. So I get here and there's no signs anywhere for the campground. I finally got my phone out and looked at satellite view, found out where the campground was, pulled back out onto the highway, and then found my way to the campground. I wanted to show you, give you an idea of driving through a very narrow, tight road into the campground. People have their trucks parked almost in the road. I had to be very careful not to hit a car or hit a tree or hit a camper until I finally got around to my site and got back into my site. There were lots of activities in downtown Sandpoint. They had a fly-in at the airport, a street fair downtown with vendors selling goods, music. They had a beach, beachfront area, lots of swimming and kayaking and boating opportunities on the lake. It was a very, very beautiful little town. I enjoyed staying there very much. Alright, I did a day trip up to Priest Lake today. Northernmost part of Idaho. It's a beautiful lake and very clear. As I moved on north from Sandpoint to Glacier National Park, I met a lot of log trucks on the road, and every time I would pass one, I'd just cringe a little bit. I would be looking for a log or something to fall off the truck. It's very beautiful country. It was getting more mountainous, lots of streams, mountainous areas. It's a little overcast the day that I drove, but it was still a beautiful drive. Hit a little bit of rain. You can see some spots on the windshield there. Finally arrived at my campground and got settled in for the night and ready to go the next day. Alright, all summer long I've been planning on coming to Glacier National Park. So this is going to the Sun Road. Got a nice view this morning, mountains and clouds. Alright, we're about a mile from the visitor center at Logan Pass. This is looking back down the mountain from near the top of Logan Pass.